Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me in today's presentation. We continue with our solutions to how to find the domain of any functions. In my previous video, we have looked at two cases. In today's presentation, we are looking at case 3, that is square root only. When you have a function that has a radical sign, that this square root, like what we have on the board, we have if g of x is equals to root 1 minus x squared, we are asked to find the domain of g of x. So we have a radical here. So anytime you have this kind of function, how do we find the domain? That's what we're about to look at it in today's presentation. In my next video, we'll look at case 4, then case 5. Thank you for joining me. If you are coming across this channel for the first time, thank you for your support and may God bless you. The returning viewer, God will continue to bless you. Thank you for joining me. If you have not subscribed to TJ's Maths and Further Maths Adventure, please hit the notification button so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new content. Thank you for joining me. Let's look at this question on the board. If g of x is equals to 1 minus x squared all in square root, we are asked to find the domain of g of x. What will be the possible value of x that we can plug into this function and to make this g of x to be defined? In other words, what are the numbers that when we substitute into this function, we'll have something? It could be 0, it could be negative, it could be positive number as the case may be. But because of this radical, there will be a restriction here. So let's look at how we can solve this. Anytime you have this kind of question, pick what we have under the radical here. We will pick what we have under the radical and set it to be greater than or equals to 0. Because whatever that is under this radical here, or under this square root, it must be greater than or equals to 0. What does that mean? If you check the square root of 0, it will be 0, meaning you are having something. Square root of 2, you will have something. Square root of 4, it will be 2 in that order. But when you have negative number, meaning it will be a complex solution or complex number. Okay? So whatever that is under this square root has to be greater than or equals to 0. So we pick 1 minus x squared. 1 minus x squared will set it to be greater than or equals to what? 0. Whatever that is under this radical here, it must be greater than or equals to 0 for this function to be defined. Very important. Okay? If we look at this equation, this is inequality equation because of this greater than or equals to sign. And we'll treat this greater than or equals to sign like equal sign. We have 1 minus x squared. What comes to our mind? Difference of 2 squared. Recall, if we have a squared minus b squared, this is the same as a plus b, then a minus b from difference of 2 squared. This is an identity. Okay, so let's apply that. We can write this as 1 squared minus x squared greater than or equals to 0. 1 squared is the same as 1. Okay, in this case, our a is 1 and our b is x. Let's apply it. We'll have 1 plus x in one bracket, then in another bracket, we have 1 minus x. Just interchange the sign. Must be greater than or equals to 0. Okay, so either 1 plus x is greater than or equals to 0 or 1 minus x is greater than or equals to 0. These are the two cases here. So either case 1, either 1 plus x is greater than 0 or 1 minus x is greater than 0. These are the two cases we'll have here. So we'll solve for x and see which option is correct here because this is objective question. We have option A to D. Very important. Okay, let's solve for x. We have 1 minus x is greater than 0. We can collect like terms here. We can write this as x greater than minus 1, or if you collect like time here, 1 will be greater than x. These are the two values of x. Let's move here. Very important. There's something I want to analyze here. If first solution is x is greater than or equals to minus 1, very important. Then 1 is greater than or equals to x. Okay, first solution x is greater than or equals to minus 1. Then the other solution is 1 is greater than or equals to x. If 1 is greater than or equals to x, it means x is less than or equals to 1. So we can write this as x is less than or equals to 1. Very important. Like if Musa is taller than James, okay, if Musa is taller than James, in other words, we can say Musa is shorter than James. That is what we're saying. Like if x is greater than, if 3 is greater than 2, it means 2 is less than 3. So that's what we're saying here. If 1 is greater than or equals to x, it means x is less than or equals to 1. Very important. So let's look at how we can write this, because this is a range. It means x is greater than or equals to minus 1. For this one, x can take a value from minus 1 and above. Okay, because x is greater than or equals to minus 1. It means the value of x, 1 minus 1 is included, with minus 1 inclusive now. This one, x is less than or equals to 1. It means x can take a value from 1 downward. That's from 1, 0, then possible negative 1. That's what this means. X is less than or equals to 1. It means x cannot be more than 1. But x can take a value of 1, 0, then minus 1 in that order. So let's write this. It means if x is greater than or equals to minus 1, or x is less than or equals to 1, it means we can write this as minus 1 is less than or equals to x. If x is greater than or equals to minus 1, we can say minus 1 is less than or equals to x. Then x is less than or equals to 1. We can write it in this form. And this will be the range of the value of x. Let me explain again. X is greater than or equals to minus 1. It means we can write it, if x is greater than or equals to minus 1, it means minus 1 is less than or equals to x. Based on the example that I was explaining before, if James is taller than John, it means John is shorter than James. Very important. And here we have x strictly less than or equals to 1. So see it here. So this will be the range. So it means the range of value of x will be from minus 1 to 1 inclusive. So it means the range of value of x is between minus 1 and 1 inclusive. So it means x cannot be less than minus 1. X cannot be more than 1. Very important. So let's look at the correct option here. Option A, no. Option B, x, no. Option C, minus 1 is less than or equal. Yes, option C is the correct answer here. So this is how to find the domain of your function when we have a radical like this. Thank you for watching. Please do share this to your learned colleagues. And don't forget to subscribe to TJ's Maths and Further Maths Adventures. In my next video, God's willing, I will solve as many questions as I can from this topic, how to find the domain of any function. After we finish the domain, we'll look at the range, because the opposite of domain is the codomain, which is range now. So we'll look at how we can find range of any function before we look at the inverse, then the composite function under this mapping function. Thank you for watching.